Jupiter for a Cancer ascendant. Another pretty good planet for Cancer. There's a little bit of difficulty there with Jupiter. And why is that? It's because Jupiter rules the 6th from the ascendant. And the 6th is one of those difficult yoga breakers. Again, those of you taking the mathematical yogas course through the apprenticeship program are aware of this. Those of you who aren't, one day will be. When a planet like Jupiter rules a trine, as it does for a Cancer ascendant, that's wonderful. Jupiter naturally rules a trine through the natural zodiac. From Aries, it rules Sagittarius, which is the 9th. From a Cancer ascendant, it rules Pisces, which is the 9th from Cancer. Also excellent. But the thing that gives it a little bit of a drawback is the fact that it rules the 6th. And the 6th is one of those yoga breakers. 6th is a planet related to hard work, the daily grind, being able to integrate with the more simple and mundane things in life. And Jupiter is big. Jupiter is broad-minded. Jupiter is not necessarily easily, well, not at all, stuffed into a box related to the daily grind. Jupiter wants a profound purpose where everything makes sense, and you can see for thousands and millions of light years, and it just keeps going, this idea of where your purpose, how big and how wonderful a purpose is, even if the mind can't understand it. But it loves that kind of a feeling. It's expansive like that. That's why one way to strengthen your Jupiter is to gaze at the ocean and the large expanse of the ocean. Just try to broaden your mind into it, meditate upon that. Or go somewhere where you can see the night sky and contemplate just how big the space is between each of those stars. That expands this Jupiterian awareness within your mind. One of the reasons why Jupiter is also related to ether. But Jupiter does suffer a little bit in its traditional expression ruling the 6th. However, there's some things to be said to that, or for that. So Jupiter rules the 6th, it rules the 9th. And this is one of the reasons why Cancerians, when it comes to their spirituality, their religion, the philosophies they follow, need to be very service-oriented, or have a sense of obedient discipline. That's why Cancer ascendants just thrive and do wonderful when they have a spiritual teacher which disciplines them and makes them focus on the basic daily grind, the chop wood carrying water, the do your rosaries, the live off hot dog soup water, instead of a fantastic meal. They love that integration of that 6th house of routine when it comes to their religion, their spirituality, their philosophy. And in a sense, it leads them to a greater capacity for understanding. In the same way that when we talked about creativity and how sometimes creativity thrives more in boundaries, where you say, here's the 4 things you have to be creative with, versus giving the person a million things and saying, now build something. We find this to be true for a Cancer ascendant related to their philosophy and their spirituality and their religion and their understanding of culture, all 9th house things. We have Jupiter debilitated in the 7th house for a Cancer ascendant. Jupiter is debilitated in the 7th house for a Cancer ascendant. And this ties into the previous talk we did on Mars with Cancer, because we saw there that Mars was exalted in the 7th, which shows, remember, Mars is about training. You get better at Mars, or you strengthen your Mars by training yourself, by challenging yourself. So we discussed how in the previous talk that the true Cancerian, they teach their children, the people they're responsible for, to be competent, to deal with problems. That's Mars. Training other people to deal with problems. Therefore, they become competent so that they can live effectively in the world. Whereas when we have Mars debilitated in the 1st, that tends to make that Cancerian just try to protect everyone and keep them from problems, so they don't develop the ability to be strong. That's why they oftentimes say people who live in a fastidiously clean house oftentimes have autoimmune disorders because the immune system doesn't have the ability or hasn't been trained well to fight off all these things which are everywhere in the world because they've been kept in a bubble in a sense. But now back to Jupiter being debilitated in the 7th. What does that tell you? The 6th Lord debilitated in the 7th, and it's Jupiter. And the 9th Lord debilitated in the 7th, and it's Jupiter. Jupiter is the friend of everyone. That's why in the planetary friendships, Jupiter does not have, Jupiter is not an enemy to anyone. He wants to support and help everyone. If you talk to someone with a strong Jupiter and say, I need $20, I haven't eaten in 2 days, they'll give you 50. That's the way Jupiter functions in a way. But taking Jupiter and debilitating it in the 7th, that shows us, that reconfirms what we just heard about Mars, that when a Cancerian tries to take care of everyone, to protect everyone, to just give away everything to everyone in a healthy fashion, or I guess it's unhealthy. They think they're doing it in a healthy fashion by just giving all the time. They, in a sense, demean or degrade or make less than the person that they're involved with because they're not giving them the ability to take care of themselves. That's a debilitated Jupiter in the 7th house. Sure, maybe they're also not very forgiving because Jupiter is about forgiveness. It depends on how that Jupiter is being influenced, because a person can also be too forgiving. The differences between these two things, whether Jupiter functions one way or another, you can figure that out. I know it's frustrating when astrologers say, oh, you could be this or you could be that. The way you figure that out is through the Logitati of Ashtas, which there is that course at AshevilleVedicAstrology.com, a downloadable course on the Logitati of Ashtas. Or there's a whole write-up of each planet and each Logitati of Ashta in the Art and Science of Vedic Astrology, Volume 2. That's why I wrote that. That's why we did that course. But back to Jupiter. The same thing with the 9th house. That is a planet of, or that is a sign, a house of, it's a house, not a sign, not a planet, but a house of higher knowledge, like religion, spirituality. It's also a house of fortune. And if you've ever known someone that thinks that they know everything, and if you would just follow their beliefs, if you would just follow their philosophies, that everything would work out great. When you get Jupiter debilitated in the 7th, that happens. You tend to think in a way that if only the people that you're relating to would believe like you do, everything would be perfect. That is a Jupiter debilitated in the 7th kind of quality. Of course, there are people like that that don't have Jupiter debilitated in the 7th and aren't Cancer ascendants, because it can happen in multiple variations. But that's a general idea of how it functions. So what we see here is Jupiter debilitated in the 7th. The Cancerian is failing in their capacity to express Jupiter in a healthy fashion by just trying to take care of everything, by trying to give, by trying to support, by trying to overlook the problems of the people that they're relating to, rather than saying, hey, look, this that's going on in our relationship is not really helpful. In fact, it's kind of unhealthy, and it's a bad habit, and it's ruining your health, and it's ruining my mental peace of mind. We can't have a relationship like this. The debilitated Jupiter in the 7th will tend to be, maybe the word's codependent, where you, or not codependent, it's when you encourage someone in an unhealthy fashion. That's Jupiter in the 7th, debilitated. Whereas we see that 6th and that 9th Lord exalted in the 1st house for a Cancer ascendant. That's why a Cancer ascendant can be an extremely lucky ascendant. However, it's the 6th Lord as well, and the 9th Lord, which shows the best way a Cancerian teaches others, which might be true for many other types of people too, but since we're just going by this generalized blueprint, is simply by embodying the knowledge and the wisdom that they themselves learn. They don't go out forcing it on people. They don't go out preaching. They don't go out trying to evangelize. They live that contented, peaceful, abundant, blissful, connected life, because Jupiter knows its connection to everything. And in that way, grace naturally manifests. And then people benefit by looking to the Cancer Ascendant and saying, wow, with that sixth lord exalted theoretically in the first, I can see how that routine, sixth house, sixth lord, how that routine of your life, how that discipline, how that structure has allowed you to develop an expansive peace of mind. And I can almost feel it radiating that I too want to emulate that and learn what you learn and experience what you experience. That is a good Jupiter for a Cancer Ascendant. It's when the Cancer Ascendant tries to talk everyone into it, evangelize everyone into it, protect everyone from their problems rather than making them competent, that we have an issue here. Now again, what we're discussing here is the generalized blueprint of an ascendant and how each of these planets would function in their highest fashion. So they don't have to be in these positions in your chart. What you need to do is reflect upon what is being shared here, and whether it's true in my chart or not, how can I contemplate that and learn to activate it so that I'm practicing learning to live that way as if I had an exalted Jupiter in my first house. And it'll be particularly true for me as a Cancer Ascendant because I am a Cancer Ascendant. So it'll be easier for me to tap into that blueprint. So that's why we're going through these ascendants, so that you get an idea of what the blueprints are like specifically for you, so that you can more easily navigate what your life would look like if you were tapping into the clearest potential of each of these planets. So consider this for Jupiter and a Cancer Ascendant, realizing that we've only had a few minutes to talk. That Cancer is a vast topic due to all the other house lords and house placements. That Jupiter itself doesn't just rule the 5 things that I've said that it rules. It covers a wealth of other qualities and characteristics, just like all of the planets do. But this will get you thinking. This will get you brainstorming on what would it be like if Jupiter was working really well for me, a Cancer Ascendant, knowing that it rules over the 6th house and what that means, and the 9th house and what that means. And what kind of pitfalls might I have just by considering the fact of that? What are the difficulties that can arise from having the potential of a 6th lord, 9th lord debilitate in the 7th? When you start thinking in that way, you will get insights on your own about how these planets function, and that's ultimately one of the more profound methodologies of astrology, is a teaching aid.